Geek Dad Life presents live discussions on Obi-Wan Kenobi, episodes 1 and 2. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to live discussions on Obi-Wan Kenobi here on Geek Dad Life 2 Geeky TV and film reviews. Normally we would do Screen Geeks with Ralph, but he has his own Star Wars channel network that he's covering Star Wars on. And, you know, I felt like I wanted to ask a friend to join me to talk about this. I just want to talk about it to myself towards the camera and to share it with all of you as well as in the chat right now. But one of my good friends, Matt, who hosts a Star Wars podcast, Owen and Beru's Barbecue. I wanted to chat with this show with him, so I'm going to bring him on right now. Let's give a warm Geek Dad Life welcome to Matt from Owen and Beru's Barbecue. Matt, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thanks for having me on here. This is strange seeing my head. It feels so big compared to your head. You have this nice, beautiful background of toys, and
we're further away shot. Your camera's a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, I'm like, woo, hey, my head's old. So no, I'm glad to talk about Kenobi. So
Kenobi.
I watched these two episodes immediately on Friday when they I wasn't like the first person, but definitely like in the afternoon I was like, okay, let's watch this, let's see what this is about. Watched it with the family, and just was really kind of blown away by it, really. Like in a way, like it kind of didn't read any reviews, didn't go. I was just kind of like, I just kind of want to sink on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we were going on a car ride, so we had kind of some time in the car to like, just as a family, to think about, oh, hey, what about this part and what about this? And really digest it and think about it until I heard, there were other people that were like, you got oatmeal in my chocolate chips. I don't know. It was like a and I'm not going to name names, but we'll just say that other people that we know.
We have a group of friends, and and I think we all experience this. Actually, let me say hello to the chat. The chat is hopping, so let's say hello to the chat, and we'll talk about this. I do think this is really important to talk about. But Cobweb is in the house. John Rhodes, Mike Hext is here. David V, Mike Davis, BTG, Better Toy Guy. We've got Live Action Star Wars, a good friend Ralph. Shiny Plastic People is here. Toy Connections, Nick Dillinger, Dartherian, hello there. Daniel, Andy Silva, Daniel from Australia, good to see you. From Down Under, Colleen is here. Studio Henge is here, and A. Troy as well. But yes, I feel like Star Wars fans are kind of in two categories now. Maybe there's three. There's ones that'll love it no matter what. There's ones that will, be honest if it's going well or not going well. Like, it's not for me or whatever. But then I feel like there's this subset of Star Wars fans that hate it no matter what.
It's like a anarchy within the system. Like, let's bring it down. Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy must die.
Yeah, exactly.
An attitude. It's just like,
if her name's in those credits, it's awful.
Exactly. Like everything that Disney has ever made, except for this one thing, is valid. So enough about the naysayers. Can I just gush on how I was just wow, like I'm watching the first episode and I felt like, is this almost over? Because this feels like a movie.
Yes.
I felt like I was getting the full Star Wars treatment here.
Yeah.
And I liked that it had a little bit more of a New Hope pacing there. Where it was just like really set up. If we're getting 6 episodes, perhaps this is the one to set up all of the pieces. These tell a story by the pacing there. So,
well, I want to ask you this because I think we're both fans of Clone Wars, Rebels, the prequels. I mean, really for me, Clone Wars and Rebels like made me fall in love with the prequels. And, I was definitely in the group of people that, actually I went and saw the prequel movies like 100 times in theater. But I eventually kind of succumb to that cynicism of like, oh well, the prequels aren't as good as the original.
They're just
and
inferior.
So, exactly. And then something happened with Clone Wars, and Rebels was like, oh, actually, no, it's it's not maybe whatever, but it's its own thing, and it's actually pretty cool. And there's a lot of really cool characters there, and I think
the breadth and life of Star Wars kind of like opened up a little bit more. We could have more things. We could take daring. I mean, where Clone Wars kind of dare to try things, you know, and really kind of push the boundaries. At first, we were like, "Whoa, pump the brakes on this stuff." You know, what is this, an anthology show? Pull it together, Star Wars. But now looking back, it's like, oh, I see. I was getting a Wikipedia lesson on this one.
Don't you mean Wikipedia? Don't you mean Wikipedia?
Oh, yeah, yes. Thanks for correcting me.
But you're right, and so like this is where I think Kenobi fits in really nicely. Is enough time has passed where there was a period of time where like prequels like, oh well, that's not Star Wars. It's not 4, 5, 6. That's not the real Star Wars. But now we're in this era of, well, if it's Disney, it's not Star Wars.
Right. If it's not the original, you know,
it's not the OG. George Lucas didn't make it, so it sucks.
Yeah, if Dave Filoni didn't touch it, then it's not Star Wars. Where is the line?
I don't know. Exactly, I don't know. There's good Star Wars, there's bad Star Wars, but any Star Wars I think is better than no Star Wars.
If David Chen's name's on that thing, I'm not watching it.
But I think what makes Kenobi exciting is it's almost like it is now dropping after there's been this kind of reappreciation of the prequels. And I gotta say, the previously on Star Wars, like that whole segment kind of saying it, I was like, oh yeah, all right, let's go. Like, I don't know, it felt, this one felt way different than any other Star Wars thing on Disney Plus right now. It had that grandiose feel of a Star Wars.
That had to have been the most expensive previously on. I mean, think about it. It's like
but like, anyway. It had a different feel even from the very beginning. The previously on Star Wars, and the new theme I'm feeling like is did John Williams do that score?
There were some, I know Ralph probably knows these things. If he was on here, he could school us on
well, it was definitely a different score to do over the Star Wars title card and the the droids and stuff. And
there were definitely some moments of John Williams coming through, like just in a couple like even subtle beats. Like they weren't like, it's the John Williams song, it was like it was just subtle, hey, here it is. So
Studio Henge calls that, well, yeah, John Williams wrote so he wrote it, but I think somebody else there's conducting it or whatever. But it had a different feel. He has a different theme, which is really cool. I think at Celebration, John Williams conducted the Kenobi theme. That's amazing.
Ooh.
But
so that was a cool thing.
Thoughts on how they open this up with going back to the younglings getting, the Jedi temple.
That opening shot there of the younglings, that was a real like, and I like to reference how my kids see things, because I feel it gives us a snapshot of my daughter was immediately like, oh no, like oh, what are we getting here? Right. Do I have to watch this?
And I think they gave a little warning to it. It was an absolute awful week in American history. For that kind of thing to drop.
Along with Stranger Things.
My wife, having been a survivor of a school shooting myself, she was like, are you going to be okay with this? This is what I hear it opens with. Are you going to be okay? And I was like, yeah, I want to see it. I like, but even then it didn't feel, it definitely was, it didn't hit as hard as maybe some other type of opening scenes to a show could.
They obviously opened it up with, what's that?
At least none of those kids died. It wasn't like Anakin comes in and just slaughters all the shit.
It was just like, Master Skywalker, what are we gonna do? We didn't have that.
Yeah, I was just like,
we didn't have.
I want to see that. I don't want to. Maybe we will say I don't want to see that personally.
But I think that was obviously these kids, we're going to find out the story of those, those Padawans and what they went on to do. I was kind of definitely, I think you alluded to this maybe just even in some brief texts that we've had. I mean, one of the Inquisitors, the third sister, seems as though she's one of these. I thought it was interesting that her eyes were not Sith eyes. If you look at all of the other Inquisitors, they all had.
Oh, good point.
They had all gone to the Sith.
For calling us out, I usually do a spoiler warning. Thank you, Riley Bob. Hold on.
Sorry.
Spoiler alerts. Again, I would assume it being an episode 1 and 2 discussion, we would know, but you're right. It should be explicitly said spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
Okay.
That's on me. That's not your fault, man.
Okay.
But I agree here that it's definitely is it pronounced Riva?
Riva. I thought it was Riva. So
and it's definitely one of the kids could, I think, to me it makes sense if it's part of Riva's backstory.
Yes, I mean they're tied hand in hand with this Kenobi story, and she's obviously hunting him. Yeah, like she has a vendetta that goes beyond what.
Exactly. It kind of it gives context to her story where she's clearly obsessed, Darth Maul level obsessed with finding Kenobi. Like, what is it with Kenobi, man? He gets these people that are just obsessed with trying to track him down.
You have a beard, you know what it's like. I mean, people come at you, lovers and haters alike. So
Reva. That's why I was saying Reba McEntire. That's how I was pronouncing it. Riva confusion. But yeah, I think it totally makes sense in that context. And
storytelling, right? I mean, setting up this, because we even see this before we jump into Kenobi's story. So
exactly. I really like it as that, and it's where it makes perfect sense. Kind of sets it up. It takes you right into there.
And by the way, if we're wrong on this, I'm not going to burn the House of Kenobi down and say that this was a horrible show. Like if I'm wrong on a theory, I've been through Lost. Okay, I'm comfortable with putting a theory out there, and
it's exactly, and I think that's something all of us fans of TV have to do is like, listen, just because our headcanon or our fan fiction didn't pan out the way you wanted it to doesn't mean it's awful.
We haven't even talked about some other things, but yes, there are some things that come up in this that make you go, what is happening? But if we're to go back to these legacy characters, why not push the rubber band as far as you can before it snaps? I mean, can we talk about scenes? Is this the spoiler thing?
We're in spoiler territory. Okay. We can jump around if you want. If you want to start with episode 1, then we'll talk about episode 2.
Well, I was trying to keep it episode 1 related, but the first part 1 is there's a scene with Owen, Uncle Owen, that was very intense with Kenobi. And I thought that scene specifically did this rubber band approach where it was really pushing up on like what we know about the characters and how you're like, these people are bulletproof. You can't kill them. And yet I liked the tension. It ratcheted it up for me.
Let's talk about, because it was in the trailer, right? I mean, most of what we saw in the trailer was in these first 2 episodes. There's a few other clips here and there that are outside,
which is exciting because some of the things that I wasn't spoiled on that we got. I'm excited for the next 4. So, go ahead. What you were going to say?
Well, but with the Obi-Wan and Owen dynamic, I really liked. I like, because again, it kind of gives more context to Owen, who was kind of trying to hold Luke back because he didn't want him to die. I always kind of question, like, why do you care about Luke? Like, it's just some kid that was dropped on your doorstep. Why do you care that much? But I guess he's a good person,
Well, and I mean, clearly they've raised him from a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenobi just gets to show up and give him the toys like he's some uncle.
Yeah, it's just like, but that's the same fighter or whatever that he had in right? So it has to come eventually.
Yeah.
It was exact the Leo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was me. Was like, hey, it's the ship.
It's the
It's just, was it T-17?
T-16 Skyhopper.
T-16. Skyhopper. Yeah, I was like, it's the ship that he has a new hope. And Colleen was like, nerd.
What about the moment where you learn that Kenobi is a toy collector?
Like he knew it. He was just like, well, in this condition.
Yeah, I know. Like he was even bartering it down. He knew the game. He knew the racket. So, and if you're gonna resell parts back, you better clean them. So that was a really, really funny way to shoehorn in toy collecting.
Yeah. But like some of the comments that I heard, I try to stay spoiler-free as possible. But even in some group chats that you and I are in, or even just seeing online and stuff like that, there's people like, well, thank God it was 2 episodes because the second episode was great, but first episode was really slow. But I gotta tell you, I really liked episode 1. I liked getting us back into the Obi-Wan storyline. I liked the introduction of Leia. I loved that we went to Alderaan.
Oh my gosh, that when we see that first shot of Alderaan, and I'm like, holy shit, we're getting this.
Yes,
I mean, and by the way, my 15-year-old daughter, 15, 15. Okay, sorry, I got to keep doing the math there. But I mean, of course, like seeing young Leia, and all of the anticipation for that. So Star Wars is for everybody, and it was just one of those moments that I also thought this is brilliant storytelling. Okay, some people might knock it for the storytelling. I thought it was a smart move, because what is the one thing that's going to pull Kenobi?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And when that twist happened, I mean, I kind of was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. We're getting to see this. But when the twist happened, and the capture part, I was like, okay, this makes sense with how. But to your point, the pacing and showing us moments of Kenobi's life where he's living like Rey, almost to the point, it was almost so much Rey, I was just like, are you telling me there's a chance that she's not Palpatine?
I got you, friend. Here we go.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Exactly. That was the whole time. I was like,
listen, we've been wanting Filoni to retcon the sequel series for a while now.
Yes. Some more than others.
Yes.
But if you could tweak a few things, that'd be one. That would be a big one.
Andy Silva, I really liked episode 1. I think you needed the first episode to show establish how broken Obi-Wan is at this point. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that scene where
was the scene in the desert with the Jedi on the run, and he confronts him, and he's just like, I don't know, I'm not the guy you're looking for. Like, how heartbreaking is that scene?
I thought the part where he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's alone in a cave in the dark, and he's just asking for his master. To me, that it was early on in the showing us his broken process, but I thought that was heartbreaking. I think as fans, we were expecting like, is Qui-Gon gonna step out of the shadows? But I think it works better when you're like left alone and cold. And just kind of, I mean, that's depression right there. So, yeah,
100%. It's something that I've wanted to see, because wasn't it in the novel version of Revenge of the Sith that Force Ghost Qui-Gon was in the novelization?
And there was.
They were more explicit about it than they were in the movie.
And there was also people that wanted Qui-Gon to show up or appear there before Yoda and Obi-Wan on the like when they're having that discussion.
Exactly.
I think that's where it happens in the book.
Yeah, it happens in the novelization. And there's a lot of like the novelization, because I think we've talked about it before, but not on this show anyway. But the novelization of Revenge of the Sith, I was just like, this is going to be the greatest Star Wars movie ever after I read that book. And then so many times I was like, well, why didn't you do what you did in the book? Why? It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely we could kick the can around about the choices not.
But that's why I was like, once he said master, I was like, oh, we're finally gonna get the Qui-Gon Force Ghost.
Yeah. And then you got to wonder, was Liam Neeson just kind of throwing people off the trail here by saying, I would never come on for a TV show. I would only do it for a movie.
I think so. I think he does protest too much.
Yes, that's my inner hope, because come on, like you're bigger than Ewan McGregor, because I think Ewan McGregor can I think acting wise in the range between if you put them on two. I mean, it's no comparison. Ewan McGregor, the number of movies, the things that he's done, TV show. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not knocking the old Qui-Gon, but I really still, I'm hoping that we get to see that maybe in the 6th part or something.
Yeah, I think so. It was referenced in the previously on Star Wars, and he's calling him out. It's going to happen. We only have 4 episodes left of this.
I like
show.
how you said it's on the previously on, so that. Yeah.
You don't put it in previously on if it's not going to be brought back, okay?
And Padme's still alive. Got it. Don't know how this is going to shake out, but man, it's going to make episode 10 interesting.
Oh my God. Darth Theory made a comment. I may have lost it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Darth Theory, Obi-Wan and Satine's secret love child is out there.
Yes.
Like Rey as their secret love child is so much cooler.
Or the daughter of their love child.
Yeah, daughter of their love child.
Because there was someone in the Clone Wars, and it's been a hot minute since I've gone through the Clone Wars, but there's someone that is in Clone Wars that a lot of people say is their child, is their love child. So, well, the allusions to Rey though, and Kenobi, like him being a scavenger, kind of living in the desert, that solitary life, and just having this kind of lonely lifestyle. So, and just even some of the shots. Yeah, go ahead.
How long does Desert Manta Ray keep?
Yeah, right. Like, that was my one. Like, did they singe the edges of it to like keep it jerky in jerky stasis?
Because it looked like sashimi.
Yeah.
But
like
I was
fresh.
like, is there something about the salt and the spice or something that keeps
this is where convenience store sushi comes from, people. I guarantee. It's like, and do you think he feeds it to his Eope as a way of like making sure that it's edible for himself? Because notice he doesn't eat it himself. He's like, no, I'll just get the dried food. So, I assume this manta ray comes from the previous ocean that was there.
Yeah,
on Tatooine.
But how could if it's the previous ocean that was part of Tatooine, but like how did we not see? How did we not see it during the pod racing? Right? Like, here's the ocean of Tatooine, and I just assumed it was like like a sand ray. It just kind of goes in and out of there.
Oh, it's a sand ray. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
How is he not? I know he's pretty obvious about the stealing food. I agree.
A lot of people are calling out Corky is the one everyone thinks is their secret child, so the kid of Corky.
Yes, thank you.
Rey's dad is a Palpatine and her mom is a Satine Kenobi. That's like you get the double. You could still make it work.
Oh, I like that. That's interesting, and that makes it kind of spicy too.
Yeah,
it's not the same old flavor.
And
that would also make sense with the balance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's a really cool theory, H-Ray.
And if you could bring that around somehow, boy, that makes even Yoda's comment, like when he goes to face Palpatine and Kenobi doesn't, like, it also makes that kind of an interesting twist. So
I agree. That's a really good, really, really, really good comment. I love that. That's in my head canon now.
Head canon.
It
overrides any Disney canon, any Lucas canon. It's in there.
Tarthar, sand ray sashimi.
Yeah, how long does it keep? That's a good question.
I don't know. I was just like, guys, it's the same one each time. It's
I've got another head scratcher when we get to episode 2 or part 2, I should say.
Going back to the Obi-Wan thing though.
Yes.
Obi-Wan and Owen Beru. Sorry, the Owen and Obi-Wan.
Because we haven't seen Beru yet.
Changed his voice, like they pitch modulated his voice so he sounded like old Owen. Did you notice that?
Oh, okay.
It was much deeper.
Okay, that makes sense, and because they did that modulation on one of the brothers, the Sith Inquisitors, like he has bass, he has this bass undertone, so it makes sense that they would mess with Beru's or Owen's.
Pretty early on, the Inquisitors are brought into the fold. What do you think of us? And Reva's one of them. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The boring monologue scene where you're just like, "Oh, come on, dude."
How do you get a Jedi to show their true colors?
Bore them to death.
Bore them with a long monologue.
I mean, she had it. You just throw the knife and then.
Yeah, Reva's just like, I'm over this. Okay, so we're both fans of Rebels.
Yes.
I'm a fan of the Inquisitors. I think it's really cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Love the backstory. What do you think of their translation in live action and seeing them here in these first 2 episodes and their introduction in episode 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think anybody that's a fan of the animated shows, when you come to the live action, as people were frustrated with, Cad Bane, in Book of Boba, there's going to be some things that you're just kind of like, that's just not quite the same, or that's just not quite right. This is the ugly Sonic the Hedgehog, so yeah, I mean, it is tricky because I think it didn't quite line up with how I imagined it, but I just kind of like leaned into it. I was just like, okay, this is what we're getting, so I'm gonna watch this and see where this plays out.
So just a minute, you're upset they weren't, they flew in on a ship instead of just like helicoptering in on their lightsabers.
Yep.
That's really where you're upset.
There's actually a moment in part 2. I don't want to spoil anyone that hasn't seen part 2.
We're going to talk about it in this episode, so you're fine.
There's a moment when she's on the building tops where I'm just like, you could just fly with your lightsaber thingy.
Yeah.
So, but the power.
Let's skip ahead a little bit because episode 2, could she take any longer to get to Obi-Wan?
Gosh.
Like,
so
you were only like 3 blocks away. What is going? Like, stop flipping and just run a straight line. On a straight line.
My wife, the non-Star Wars, but observer. She's along for the ride. She loves it. She called it the Batman moment. That whole rooftop sequence was very Batman-esque to her.
Of her, right? Like Reva running.
Just Reva being on the rooftops, prowling around, kind of like
I was just like, how is she not there yet?
Yeah.
Like the whole time I was thinking that, like, as he's like saves Leia with the rubber grab, I was like, okay, now she's gonna like chop off your head because this is taking 75 minutes. But
we never knew Obi-Wan had a robotic hand.
How I gotta be honest, like following Leia as a kid, and this may be a controversial take. I'm so thankful we got to see Leia as a kid.
Yeah.
Instead of even more whiny Luke as a kid.
Oh
like,
my gosh. Yeah.
Such a better choice. This may get a lot of hate in the comments or whatever, but and the actor they got to play little like young Leia, like spot on. I adore this character. She's awesome.
And she did a really good job with certain lines. I understand that some people, this isn't the Kenobi that you signed up for, but is this not the Mandalorian?
Right, it's like it was move over, Baby Yoda. We got Kid Leia.
Kid Leia with a protector. It's basically, I mean, elements of something where a reluctant hero steps forward, like on a quest to, protect or return. So, the Leia startup, getting to see Leia, was it a little bit more kid oriented? Sure. Who doesn't want a Lola?
And such a great intro to the character in this scene, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Like, some like they're setting us all up, all the robes, all the egalitarian accoutrement.
Ditching out.
It's just like, oh, nope, she's in the woods. Like, it's such a great introduction to the character. And the actress that's playing her, she's doing a fantastic, she's just the episode 1, episode 2, so many great one-liners, so many like Carrie Fisher one-liners that are just.
There are some serious comedic moments in part 2 that the way she delivers the lines. Perhaps they had to get this out of 20 takes. I don't know, but they did it, and it works.
It's like more like Grandpa,
like, right? That's the one. Yeah, that's the one that hits. So, it also kind of helps us see how he is perceived. Like it's like kind of like a. This is also showing us or letting us know that he is not in the best condition. This isn't. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get a Kenobi montage. I need a montage, and he's like doing like all of these Force things.
It's true. He needs a Jedi montage, a Rocky montage
for sure.
because I gotta admit, when he was like holding his lightsaber as like Reva's going through, I was like, oh no,
like,
Obi, just run.
Yeah,
You're not ready. You're not ready.
Yeah, you need to go through like a Home Alone, like, kind of style booby trap thing,
Yeah,
just
gauntlet,
like, yeah. So, maybe that's what we see. We see him doing like a Ray gauntlet kind of thing. Another callback.
Love this call here, Daniel. The costume reference between young Leia and
gosh,
Endor Leia. I love that. Yeah. I saw a few of those kind of like that was awesome.
I liked that too. So in fact, I think that was something that I definitely caught the best spin on the first time through, but the Endor, maybe like halfway through. Like, oh wait a second. Well, I see what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Kudos. So to the designers.
Yep. A lot of people are calling about seeing needles took me right out of it. Flea. Thoughts on Flea showing up as the person that kidnaps young Leia, that kind of sets this whole, I'm guessing, this whole story into motion.
I assume that he also taught Han that maneuver that we see in Solo, since he has needles. It did take me, but I gotta say, like, a lot of people still don't know who Flea is. So whereas I am the meme, I am the DiCaprio meme, where I'm like, hey guys, hey. The rest of my family is like, who? Huh?
Really? They didn't know who Flea was. Okay.
Yeah. So
well, we had just watched because Zach and I did the Lego Back to the Future car. So as we were doing it, we played Back to the Future so the whole family was watching that. So they were all kind of, but I think they knew him more as Needles than Flea, the legendary bassist. But I love this BTG. What are you, Obi-Wan? Chicken?
that could fit. I could see that's got to be a meme somewhere. Somebody has.
I'm sure. I'm sure we're gonna do some memes at the end of this episode. But yeah, so
I guess it didn't bother me. There are certain aspects of, and this would be the part where a certain person that we both know mutually would kick the tires and say, "Oh, what are we getting here?" There's some certain like production things where I'm like, it's just a little under Star Trek. I think Star Trek Insurrection level of like masks sometimes. I'm like, what are we getting here? Why are we getting this B grade? This is the thing where you need to just kick it up another degree so that we're getting like an A+ level show. Because story wise, I was compelled by everything. I thought the editing and flow. I thought there was some interesting editing camera moments in part 1 where when that scene that you were talking about, where he sees the other Jedi in the desert, which I immediately thought this Jedi was part of this Padawan group, which I think is the red herring that we're supposed to believe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because I mean, how would she not know if Reva is part of this Sinister Six that left the Padawan temple, the Sweet Six? I don't know what we call it, but. She would have obviously recognized this person if they were part of that.
Sure, you're right.
That ring. So I felt like that was a red herring because I kept thinking, oh, he's one of those children. But the camera work on that scene is almost like early level Battlestar Galactica office kind of shaky cam, and I was like, that's an interesting choice because other scenes are very steady and measured and calm and
I think that adds to the anxiety of it, because like for me personally, I was getting anxiety that, okay, well, if these Inquisitors are worth their salt, they should be tracking this Jedi, and them meeting, like, I would be like, oh crap, there's Obi-Wan, like, kill them both. Like, that's what I was like, there's no way one of these Inquisitors aren't going to jump out any second, because this Jedi basically led them right to Obi-Wan. Luckily it didn't happen, but that's what I was getting really like, oh, get out of there.
I was surprised about seeing Jimmy Smith's. I wasn't surprised about seeing Jimmy Smith, but seeing Bail Organa show up on Tatooine and confronting.
Yeah, that was. Let's talk about this. Jimmy Smith's Bail Organa. He's shown up a few times now post, the prequel series, Rogue One. Voiced the character in Rebels and Clone Wars, right? I think he's voiced it.
Yeah.
So love seeing him here. Love the scene between him and Leia in this scene. Like,
oh yeah, he was basically in her corner. You could tell that
absolutely.
He was like, encouraging that fiery spirit to stand up against her
And
cousin
it makes the fact of Alderaan's fate of their fates that much more tragic. You know, because just like he's clearly a great dad, a great person, you know. But and Jimmy Smith does a great job. I mean, he's a fantastic actor. So like,
yeah, he's got to love this role, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
love with this, Andy. Call it, yeah. It's he brings a warmth to the role. And
exactly. It's like it's who you imagine Bail Organa to be. Like he holds kind of like all of those qualities, I think, in check. So
yeah, and not a cameo, yeah, an actual like major character. But I will admit, yeah. So the first the contact is, you know, through the old Jedi communicator, which, you know, does that make my comlink communicator from Kenner that much more valuable? Probably. But he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. But then he somehow gets there inside his. Like he knew where Obi-Wan's secret hideout was, whatever, I guess. But
did he do a reverse trace on that one?
He must have. I guess he's powerful. He's a powerful.
Like he's got they've got a two-way thing. Like I know where you're at. You know, it's like an iPhone. It's basically like an iPhone. He's like, oh, I see where you're at. You're.
and honestly, there was just a moment, it's like, F you, Obi-Wan, where he's just like, well, she's not the important one. Luke's the important one. I was
my
like,
gosh,
screw you. Like, what the hell?
Life in the desert, man. It gets to your brain, dude.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like, I was only tasked to take care of the boy.
Yeah, but also be a huge misogynist.
Yeah, exactly. But so any reason why you think he didn't want to use? I guess it makes sense. He didn't want Imperial forces to kind of be called into it because he knows Leia's origin. And he's still trying to keep, you know, her lineage a secret from the Emperor, right?
Yes.
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to Obi-Wan instead of the authority.
Can't bring any attention. Even the fact that the cousin had this rumor, you know, that about how she's not even one of them and all of that stuff.
The
so
doctor or whatever,
yeah. So there might be a little bit of that going on. You know, part one obviously, like, you know, culminates with that aspect. And the callback to him telling this other Jedi to go out and bury these lightsabers in the desert. Another callback to Rey, even, right? And
I muted myself. I'm sorry. No, you're 100% right. And I love that you brought up the digging up of the lightsabers.
Yeah,
because one, I love the OG Obi-Wan lightsaber. I said before, I pre-ordered the Hasbro one. But did you notice that the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber had changed back to the original calculator little kind of clear on the switch, changing it from the one that we saw in Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. I didn't notice that. Yeah.
So that little igniter in Revenge was a kind of a fancy looking gold little thing there. In A New Hope, they basically kind of cut off these calculator cells essentially, and that's what they use in New Hope. But then in Empire Strikes Back, they actually use like a microchip piece, and that's the one I like the best. But when you open up that box, I don't know why. I mean, I guess because that's what it looks like in A New Hope, but they had the one that it looked like in A New Hope in that box. I found that
so. I guess to retcon that part of the story, I assume that the lightsaber was damaged in that battle, right? And so Obi-Wan
maybe
he
put that piece on or something.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna fix it up this old engine for you. You know, you can't have a faulty. Yeah,
it's as good as new.
So yes, he goes out into the desert. One try Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
hasn't been using the Force a lot. But one try, he digs that hole.
Maybe it is Force, because I gotta tell you, I grew up near the beach. The second I would ever bury anything in sand, I could never find it again. It's gone forever.
Yep. He had to have a tracker on that.
Had to have. Or against the Force or whatever. But.
Yeah. So okay, part 2 though, which is apparently that is when the true show begins for some fans.
I guess, but let's just put a pin in episode 1. I thought episode 1 was great. I thought it was. Yeah, I really liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, it was a movie to me, and it came out of the gate with something that was really engaging, and I was like, okay,
It set the stakes. It set the stakes. It brought you back to those characters.
And I knew they had to get Kenobi off of Tatooine. That was the only way that you could propel the story forward with Kenobi. And so by the end of the first one, I'm like, of course, this makes sense. So and then also doing something fun with again the idea of legacy characters that we can't touch. They're untouchable. And then opening up with part 2 where Kenobi is the hunted, you know. So and it's a trap. So it's a trap.
It's a trap. So yeah, let's talk about episode 2. Love that we got off Tatooine. Way too much. As much as Tatooine's an integral location in Star Wars lore, like why? Let's do something different. And I love that we got off of Tatooine.
Finally.
And I
so much
go back to Tatooine, but I hope we don't because I don't know.
I hope it's like at the end of 6 when he goes back into the cave and Qui-Gon's like, "Welcome back, bro." Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's like, where have you been? Let me tell you, my friend. But we got off world.
So this is the Grand Central Station of kind of the galactic world, right? Like you know what I mean? Like this planet that he's on.
Sure. Yeah, definitely like a crossroads kind of thing. And right off the bat, we have a scene that I just wouldn't expect to see, but we had Tamora Morrison as a 501st Stormtrooper, like a veteran. That was kind of crazy.
It has to be one of the top 2 moments of this episode for me.
Sure.
Is that little moment and the visual of Kenobi. It's worth the price of admission. The visual of seeing Kenobi giving him credits as a war vet. That's
and it was very clear, like, gonna kill me. There you go.
Yeah.
But my question, like, was the Execute Order 66, was it removed from his brain too, like some of the others? Because he didn't have like that kill, or is he so like downtrodden, doesn't have
I mean, part of what I understand about it is that, I mean, how would they know? I mean, they're not force sensitive unless they've been told.
How did they know for Execute 66? Like they had to have like some type of like.
Well, most of them were generals around them, so they were already in positions where they could just turn and kill. And then the other thing was to go into the Jedi Temple, murder all of those Jedi, and then everybody else you're just going to use Inquisitors to hunt down and clean up the rebel.
Yeah,
you know. So, I mean, because unless you really know, oh, that's a Jedi, like.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, the entire time I'm watching part 2, my entire family were just screaming at change your robes. You look like a Jedi. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna not look like
standard issue Jedi robe.
Yeah, like I mean, at one point he actually looked like someone who didn't look like a Jedi when he was on Tatooine. He was sporting that blue outfit.
Yeah, blue. Yeah.
That was looking cool, right?
You
know, but then he's like, okay, official Jedi business. Got to put on the robes here. Hope nobody notices me. I look like Jesus. So the homeless Jesus look, apparently, I don't know. I think there's another level of midichlorians that just like people just don't notice the Jedi as they wear those clothes. Yeah.
That's good call out there. It's just like, oh, you just look like a more scroungy version of yourself. Like,
right.
Might
as well put up a sign, Jedi over here.
Yeah, exactly. Love that. It was his real daughter. Ewan McGregor's daughter was the woman that gave him the spice.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
I thought that was cool.
So I'm coming into these 2 episodes without having read anything over the weekend. Kind of had a Memorial Day.
I asked you, can you do all of the research and come in as prepared as possible?
Sorry, did not. But no, I like these things that you're telling me though. That's a really cool. So, and then the fact that he says like the illusion of the daughter too, you know, like between in their conversation, you know, so it's real meta. So
exactly. I think that just it added to, I don't know, just in retrospect, like, oh, that's cool. That was cool. The cameo for his daughter was that,
Yeah, and if I was ever in a Star Wars movie, and I could get my children into a Star Wars movie, you better believe it.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Wouldn't
I
we
mean,
all?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like some of the, of course, Lucas did it, Carrie Fisher. I don't think Mark Hamill, I don't think he pulled any strings to get his son in Star Wars. And Harrison Ford, I mean, he's just like, what's a Star Wars?
Indiana Jones, I'm in though. Indy, I'm in.
Right.
Okay. I loved Kamal Nanjiani. His character was it Haja?
Oh yes. This was awesome.
As the fake Jedi.
The faux Jedi. This was excellent. I liked this whole story.
Yep.
And a great actor for a really good role. Yeah.
Perfect actor for the role. And I hope he's in more. Like I hope he's just kind of one. What I loved about that whole sequence of Obi-Wan going to him, seeing he's a fake or whatever, it felt very Clone Wars to me. It felt very much like a Kenobi episode of Clone Wars.
Yes. Yep. And it even had the full Clone Wars treatment where that character then realizes, this is Obi-Wan, and does the right thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's that complete circuit of morality. Yeah. So no, you're right. That did feel very Clone Wars-esque. And even like the little kid come and get them. Usually it'd be like a little alien. In this case, the little boy worked perfectly. So that storyline, him finding, the fake out of the setup, and then just that kind of like, it's just like, I think it kind of adds to that layer of him feeling kind of broken, and that maybe he's not cut out for this. So,
Camille, character struck me as the opposite of his Eternal character. Being trying to be normal, he's normal trying to be powerful.
That's
Eternals was a bit of a flat note for me, but I love him as an actor, and he was great in the movie. I think all the characters in Eternals were great. I think the story was kind of like
it's a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And just it's spacious though, and I think that's something that as I go back to Eternals and I've rewatched it, I kind of enjoy. So the spaciousness of time, I should say, because they are. It's in the title, Eternal.
Hold on, I'll give. Here you go. It's really good. It's great. But Drifter comment, it's good that it felt like a Clone Wars episode in certain parts. Clone Wars was exactly, and then and especially since this is pre A New Hope, it's in that space. It's in that space of Rebels.
Look, I will
see it in
I will look past shoddy animation if it's great storytelling. Just like I'm going to look past shoddy special effects if there's interesting storytelling.
Sure.
So there were moments where I was like, okay, like the smoke on the train thing. I was like, it seems kind of like there was a couple special effects moments where I was like, it's not the best, or like I said, the outfits, or the masks, I should say, like those kind of things. I feel like it's not quite that top notch, but I'm in for a penny and for a pound. If this is where Star Wars is going, grow it then, let's see it kind of evolve from this. And as long as this storytelling is better than what we got in the first 4 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, then I'm fine.
That's where, and that's where, for our friends like right off the bat felt like they were like putting it right there with Book of Boba Fett. I was like, no, this was so much better than Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. Light years ahead of it, I felt. As far as setting up a whole, I don't know, it was just more intriguing to me. So and yes, it did have those Clone War aspects. Even the fact that the girl Leia turns on Kenobi at some point. It's just like, how do I trust you? Which is a very kid-like thing to do. You're
absolutely
So that seemed very, very real, and that reaction. And
then also as a parent, like when you tell your kid not to do something, they don't do that, and you're
oh
like,
my gosh,
Like I felt that.
As a parent watching that whole scene, it was just like more like I felt more anxious because I'm like, okay, now I've lost my kid in the crowd and I'm being hunted by Sith. Great. How could my day go any
You
worse?
can all relate to that, right? You lose your kid, you're being hunted by the Sith, or
Yeah.
not the Sith, but Dark Jedi or whatever.
I feel like that's when the Ron Howard Arrested Development like voiceover could come in and really kind of.
Yeah, I'm surprised Reva didn't kill Kamal. Gee, she slapped his hand for less. It's true.
Yeah.
At that point, she didn't kill him. I was like, oh well, he's gonna be in future episodes. That's why.
I also kind of felt like she got what she needed from him, and perhaps she even pulled the memory of even telling him such things.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea how strong her power is. Again, I go to the one aspect that her eyes are not fully Sith. And I feel like it's kind of an interesting, they even brought in another Sith sister at some point, another Inquisitor.
Yeah. And sister. So she's third sister. It's fifth brother. And is it second sister?
There's several sisters apparently. And several brothers.
Well, yeah.
And I've lost track of all of them. At one point I knew. At one point, I was like, okay, I got it figured out. I was like the Charlie Day meme. Okay, I was like, okay, I got it figured out. These are all the different Siths. And then I just stopped caring. I reached for
the whole Ben Leia sequence sort of played out for me almost like a wistful what if scenario where Obi-Wan likely would have been an uncle type to Leia.
Oh yeah,
things hadn't gone sideways. Absolutely. To me, that no more like kind of had this moment of sadness where fourth sister. Thank you, Adam. The moment where he's just like, oh, you remind me of someone. And someone said, like, actually I thought it was Satine. That felt like probably too off.
I thought it was Padme.
Clearly Padme, right? Satine would be cool, maybe a little bit of both as well, but
I also felt like they were hinting at Padme when the parents were talking about Leia. Oh, she reminds me of, like they were talking about like, and so I kind of felt like they were referring to Padme because she was so headstrong. So
maybe your first like, oh, Anakin, because he was also headstrong in his own thing too.
Right.
But I love that he brought up Padme and that she was a leader. She wasn't a judge, she was a leader. I love that.
That really got close to like a little bit of like, don't you dare say you're my only hope, because if this little girl says you're my only hope, I don't know. I might get a little too dusty in the room. So
and I understand the take here, Andy, that it's she was never as stubborn as but I think Satine also like a great leader for her people and also stubborn to the end. Didn't die of heartbreak though. I'll give her that for credit. Not to knock Padme for dying.
Whew, that was a tough way to go. So
Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
It's like Fredo, you're breaking my heart. Okay, so the whole action sequence where he catches her, he uses the Force, and then we have the sequence where basically he's hiding with her and they're trying to get off world before then we have this moment of, is he going to light the lightsaber? At this moment, I kind of was like, oh, I really wanted him to, but at the same time I thought it's going to be a bigger deal. It's going to be another moment when he steps forward with it.
And I'm with you that he needs a Jedi montage of like getting back in shape.
Yeah, for sure. If it's a muscle, it's weak, man. Like you have not like, even if it's riding a bicycle.
Sure.
He is out of shape.
You need a little practice. Clearly, like it was one of the Darth Maul species, and he like hit his hand on the horn and like cut his hand, and he's bleeding.
Well, he's trying to punch. I mean,
yeah, Blaster rifle is it was never his thing, even as a Jedi. And but yeah, as she's kind of there taunting him, and he's just like, you're not ready. You're not ready for this. You're not ready, Obi-Wan.
So I'm I guess looking forward, part 3, I have no idea what we're going to see, but perhaps we do see a montage. Perhaps they don't get quite right back to Alderaan. So maybe there's a little bit of this like on the road with Leia. I would think that we would get a little bit more
there needs
mileage out of this story.
Absolutely. Music, you're the best. You're the best around. What would be the Star Wars equivalent? Would it be like
That is kind of like a workout song, right? I was thinking of the Jefferson Starship. Will you light the night on fire? Or something like that. Will you fire? Something. I can't sing it now. If you've watched the holiday special, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Will you light the night on fire? Something like that. It's really cheesy and bad.
Oh, it's bad.
Ben will fix Lola. That would be really good. Yeah.
I think so. All right. He's going to fix, but he's not the techie guy. I feel like Leia would just figure it out, right?
Yeah. Or maybe it's just a message to all parents, like just destroy those devices, just throw them down. Like, all right, no,
having to fight. At least my son Zach, the oldest, he's obsessed with screens, and
yeah,
he can't do it during the week. He only gets on the weekend for a little bit, and I think a lot of parents identify with less tech, less screens.
Oh my gosh, yes. But also really cool if you had a drone that would just follow your kid around, because then I would let them out into the forest and run free, right? So I mean,
that's true.
I was raised in the 80s, but lived through the 2000s, so I'm not quite there yet. All right, I'm just trying to think through like part 2, like any other standout moment. Oh, we've missed one huge one, which is probably the number one thing I would think from this episode.
Agreed.
Yeah. And it is just as powerful of a moment. I love that. Only Ewan McGregor could pull off the anguish on the face.
Sure.
The psychological torment that would being revealed.
Well, there's so much within him finding out Anakin's alive.
Yeah. His failure.
Presumed. There's no way the Grand Inquisitor is dead, right? Unless there's another Grand Inquisitor that's the same species, different person.
So I guess that was my only on the Grand Inquisitor. Could be dead, okay, and that was just a red herring. So every fan that was just like, but it's not like my Grand Inquisitor. Wah. Okay, well, Rebels is still another 5 years out. So
sure.
There you go. Maybe
it may be, and again, because I hate the way his head looks.
His head looks fat, like Billy Corgan.
It's so bad.
That's a very specific reference to Billy Corgan's head. But when Billy Corgan shaved his head, it got really big, like Billy Joel.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so nobody needs that, right? So A, maybe it's not the same Grand Inquisitor, or B, perhaps the only way that he really truly could have died was by, and this is some huge spoilers,
sure,
for Rebels, but maybe the only way that he could truly die was by fire.
Maybe,
But
I mean, it's just a stab. It's just a little stab.
Yeah.
If Anakin can be brought back to life, what was, I'm blanking on her name now, from Boba Fett, but a whole mechanical middle section. But
I do think that this could lead to, though, if he is alive, one of the other Inquisitors would be like, bro, what's up? Let's get you back to help, right? And they I don't know why they're saying bro, but they're Inquisitors, right? There's bros and sisters.
So very bros. Inquisitors are very bros. Thank you, Ralph.
And they're like, oh yeah, Fennec. Great reference there. Fennec had the belly sewn up together. So they get the Inquisitor back to going again.
Mm-hmm.
And Reva's just doing her own thing. So then it's going to be an Inquisitor versus Rogue Inquisitor showdown. Meanwhile, you got Kenobi versus Vader going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This feels right.
I love that. I love you're right. Rogue Inquisitor pursues Kenobi, and then you have the actual Inquisitors trying to get the Rogue Inquisitor and Kenobi, and you have Darth Vader hanging around. It gives there's like a multi-level chase.
There's multi-levels, and if I'm wrong about any of these, and I'm surprised, I'm along for the ride. I was already surprised by several things, Leia being number one on that list, and I was pleased with what happened. So
I agree. Great close up, and at the very end of the episode too is Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader, in the Bacta tank
under about 5 inches of I mean,
He's waterlogged. It's waterlogged.
Waterlogged.
Makeup's waterlogged.
I will say this. Okay, do you think because we're getting Hayden Christensen, and boy, they're gonna have to do some retro CGI on him because he does not look the same as what he did look like in Revenge of the Sith. But do you think we would get some moment where you see Anakin Skywalker
Yes.
and these Padawans that are like escaping the temple?
Oh, I hope not. If there's one thing I don't like from Revenge of the Sith is the fact that Anakin killed younglings. I hate that.
Right.
Like the whole turn to the dark side, I get because he's trying to save Padme, but the killing younglings,
right?
I don't. That's the one that always just like that doesn't make sense to me. It never made sense to me.
It's like picking up heroin to try to like save your mom's life.
But even that would make more sense than killing kids.
Right.
He was an honorable, he had the undertones of would prefer a dictatorship to a democracy.
He did have that. Yeah.
That was all there. It was all set, but through Clone Wars, all set. But the thing that just never clicked for me was just like, you would never kill younglings. Like, this just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, since you've gone to the dark side, you need to pick up the worst thing.
Yes. Like, you could have had the troopers do that, and it could have been like, ah, crap, I wish that wouldn't have happened. Darn you, troopers.
Plausible deniability.
It wasn't me. It was the trooper. Okay.
Yes.
What if, because we never see him kill the younglings.
Okay.
What if the flashback sequence for him, if he is there, is like Palpatine's like, okay, but don't kill the younglings. We need them for like future whatever. You just take the younglings away and have them ushered away to the Inquisitor camp.
Okay.
And then it retcons it so he never kills the younglings. He just sends them off to become like acolytes of the Sith.
I think that's bad. No, you can't. No. I know you want to retcon Anakin and make him.
Why not? That could work.
It's one step too far. To the camp? He's just ushering him off to camp. So he's just.
Okay, maybe camp. That's too strong a word, but
it's too strong.
Like, he's just taking them. It's just like
it doesn't.
I'm not gonna kill you.
Just get into the starship. There's no windows. It's a white van.
JT, you're right. He did see it on the holotapes. All right. It's on the monitors. You're right. He killed younglings. Dang it. All right.
Boy, everybody's jumping on you now. So
it's fine.
Fine. I'm excited with where they go with the next 4 episodes, and and also the trailer for Andor dropped like the same.
Yeah. I'm excited for Andor. I love both the timeline of Andor and Obi-Wan. It's in that area between Clone Wars or
anytime there's stormtroopers, I'm down.
Right, and so there's just so much storytelling to do there. And I live action Rebels. I'm for it. Let's do it.
One other thought. I know this was hinted at in the trailers for Kenobi. So this slight spoilers. I don't know because I don't know any spoilers, but maybe we'll see a certain Solo. Like there was a silhouette of a certain type of gun in a certain scene. So maybe we'll see Solo.
But do you bring back what's his name to be Solo, or do you do the creepy?
I don't know because Kathleen Kennedy just came out and was basically like we're never recasting legacy characters again. Which I just am like, whenever you say.
You're going to tell me that Donald Glover's
Lando
wasn't amazing? I thought he was fantastic.
It was fantastic. We need more of variety. If you ask me, I think bringing in the variety is more interesting. You could recast all of the characters of the original trilogy and still give me Heir to the Empire, and I would be happy.
Ralph says that's not what she said. He was at Celebration this week, so feel free to enlighten us, my friend.
Okay. That's not what she said.
I want Hondo to help smuggle them back to Alderaan. That'd be great. Hondo would be great. Live action.
That would be interesting. Yeah, as long as it's not animatronic Hondo.
Listen, I finally got to do that ride at Disneyland.
Okay.
It wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad? Okay. His head just seems a little fat, like an Inquisitor, like a Grand Inquisitor, like wideness. Like it's got to be extra girthy. So,
oh my god.
I kid. I'm down for whatever happens with the rest of Kenobi. I'm not saying that it's all great, but to me, I felt like these episodes were worthy episodes.
100%.
Yeah.
I really, really dug them. Is it Wednesday this week for the next ones? Is it like only a couple days away now?
So I was a little confused as to if they were dropping on Wednesdays or Fridays, because there for a while Marvel was doing Wednesdays, and then there was rumors of Star Wars going back to Fridays. So I thought because they dropped it on Friday.
Just on the chat, people. You all know. You all will know.
You are smarter than us. We're just the talking heads that love to talk Star Wars. So.
Wednesday, yeah. So it's back on Wednesday.
I'm down. This is exciting news.
Matt, do you want to? I don't know if I'm free Wednesday night. Colleen's tell me if I'm not. But do you want to come back on? Let's flip the switch and go live Wednesday night.
I would love to talk on Wednesday night. Yeah, I don't have anything else going on. So
they want to go against Stranger Things. I still haven't seen Stranger Things. I need to see it. I'm a huge Stranger Things fan. I just haven't seen it yet this weekend.
Watched the first episode and a half, I think. So they're long. I started diving into them. So and yeah, excited to see Stranger Things is back. But those are full length movies as well. I mean, well, not movies, but I mean each episode's like about an hour and 15, I think. So averaging.
Oh yeah. I'm excited for it. I again love it. We'll probably review it here on this channel. I need to see it first though. So Wednesday, Matt, you and I will be back. We'll talk about it. So hit the subscribe button and the bell, kind of not miss that episode. Only a couple days away. But I also want to call out a good friend, Ralph, who does Screen Geeks with me here on this channel. That they're gonna be live Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So early. So if you want your early stream, definitely go to Live Action Star Wars. And Matt and I will do the later in the night stream.
12 hours later.
Episode 3 of Obi-Wan.
Looking forward to it.
One last thing. Something I want to do on the streams that I do on Geek Live 2, Geeky TV and Film Reviews, is screen memes or meme screen or something with memes. If anyone come up with a better name, I asked Colleen to come up with a name and she couldn't come up with anything. She was just like, Colleen, you can put, if you're still here, you put some of the ideas you had for the memes thing, but she didn't come up with anything that good. I was really disappointed. But there's the meme culture around the prequels is so strong.
It's so strong. The screaming memes? No. Screaming.
Yeah.
No,
this was one of my favorite. Hey, Anakin, I just subscribed to Disney Plus because of Obi-Wan.
Oh, that's good. I love that. Because of Obi-Wan? I love that.
And then this next one I also thought was really funny. You can't kill him. He must stand trial. Like you let Count Dooku stand trial.
And it's got Owen, Uncle Owen there. So it's good. I like that because it flips it back around because he didn't let Count Dooku.
Exactly. Oh, look at that. Live action. Ralph says, I love it so much. I may even be up for Hey, listen, Ralph, I'll send you a link as well. You're more welcome to join. But yeah. So if anybody has any fun memes for any of the episodes,
I will try to think about that for Wednesday.
Yeah,
and do a little bit of homework there.
Do a little homework. And then you can also send them in if you have ones that you want to submit for screen memes. Send them to geekdadlife@gmail.com. It's geekdadlife@gmail.com. As we close out this episode, I definitely want to thank the people that make this show possible, the patrons of Geek Dad Life. Let me share the screen quick. And every single episode. There we go. It's even playing in the background. It's kind of a low volume. Anywho. Full list of all of our patrons. There you go. You find a full list of them right here. If you'd like to see your name in the credits, become a patron at patreon.com/geekdadlife. And we'll see you Wednesday here. We're also going to be tomorrow on Geek Dad Life Prime doing a review of Vintage Masters of the Universe Classics. That should be pretty. Here it is right here. Mo2C versus Masterverse. dropping on the channel tomorrow at 3 p.m. It'll be a premiere, so we can all chat and have fun with that on Geek Dad Life Prime. Let me stop sharing the screen. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, thanks for having me. Love talking Star Wars anytime.
We'll see you Wednesday for episode 3. So until then, hasta luego and goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks for having me.